Hello, everybody. Today we're going to look at, well, it's a Grail pen. I think if anybody is into fountain pens, the fountain pen hobby, collecting fountain pens, you eventually come up with a list of Grail pens you want. And, well, the Pelikan 1000, the Pelikan M1000, is probably on 95% of Grail lists. And this isn't mine. This is loaned to me by a pen friend, and I appreciate it very much. It's nice to have it. And he thought, hey, I picked up this pen. Would you like to take a look at it for your channel? And he's loaned me a few other things. So, thank you very much, Rudolph. I appreciate it. And my cat is, of course, very curious of what I'm doing. Anyway, so what do we have here? Well, the first thing I can honestly say is we have a huge pen. It's the M1000 is the largest pen in the Souverain line by Pelikan. Um, and of course it's the most expensive pen in the line as a result. And is it worth it? If you I would say yes, it is worth it. But it's shocking to think that that this is probably $1,000 pen just off the top of my head. My friend, he said he got it on the secondary market and got a good deal. He collects pens and he's always hunting around, so he's found some really interesting things. And so what we have here is, your classic. It is a classic shape of the Pelikan fountain pen. It's very traditional. It reminds me of earlier, like the early versions of Pelikans. And Pelikan, of course, is a German company. And one of the things I like about Pelikan is, even though they've come up with things like this magnificent beast of a pen, which price range is beyond my means. And even though it is on my list of Grail pens, I really am not going to go out and buy a new Pelikan 1000 anyway. But Pelikan also makes inexpensive fountain pens, the Pelikan Twist, and so they have an increment. They have a variety of price points, which is really nice. And in the Souverain line, they start off at, say, there's the Pelikan 200, for instance, which has a steel nib, quite a bit smaller. And then when you get into the gold nibs, you start off at the M400. Then there's which is a small pen. I'm going to actually show you a comparison in a minute here. Then there's the 600, 800, and the 1000. It comes in a variety of different colors. This is the solid black. Quite often, the most common thing people think of is the striped version, which I have in the M405, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But I quite like this beautiful black resin pen with gold, gold trim. The clip is gold, the bands are gold plated, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not too sure what the gold fill is, but I really am a sucker for a gold and black pen, or a gold and silver pen, I should say a silver and black pen. I really like black pens, and this is a beautiful, beautiful pen. Now, I'm just going to show you the size comparison. This is the largest in the Souverain line. And then this is my pen here. It's a Pelikan 405. It has a gold nib. And of course, when you're looking at it, it is striking just how small mine is in comparison. It's quite interesting. Weight-wise, when I picked them up, it's not a huge difference. That is a heavier pen, of course, but it's not a huge difference. For me, I actually am quite pleased with my 405 size-wise. I don't mind a small pen. I like a small pen. And I do have some bigger pens too. Um, but yeah, this is actually a beautiful size. Like it's not outrageous. It's comfortable in the hand. Um, and it's beautifully balanced. So let's talk about a couple of things about this pen. It's a screw cap, of course, and it takes bottled ink. And the reason it only takes bottled, it doesn't have a converter, it doesn't take cartridges. It has a solid brass differential piston filling system. So you at the end here is a piston knob, and there's a brass mechanism inside, and you fill it with ink, and it holds 1.51 milliliters of ink, fountain pen ink. If you're new to the fountain pen ink in this game, remember to use fountain pen inks. Just don't go slapping anything in there. So it's a solid brass differential piston filling system. It has an 18 karat gold nib. And this one, if you undo it, you see that beautiful, beautiful engraving on this nib. I don't know if you can really, if my camera can do it justice. But anyway, there's a beautiful engraving. On the logo is the mother pelican with a single chick. This is a medium nib. And now keep in mind, German nibs are quite different, say, from Japanese nibs. So if you like Japanese pens and you're familiar with them, this will feel very broad in comparison to, say, a Japanese medium. And also it's a big nib, so it does feel like almost like a broad nib, it has a big line. So that's one thing to think about if you like a finer nib. An extra fine or a fine might do you. You might want to try them out to see how you like them. But that's one thing to keep in mind. So this is a medium, and it's a beautiful writer, I have to say. So it's the Pelikan 1000 black. Now, it has a green ink window. I don't know if I can. Yeah, there you can just make it out there, right here, just to let you know your ink levels. It's very subtle, very classy. It does, unless you go looking for it, you don't really notice it too much, especially when it's got ink in it. And then this has Arashizuku Kirisan. So it's a Pelikan pen with pilot inks. So let's do a little writing sample. So the quick brown fox. Lazy dog. Now, what I like about this nib is I am getting some nice variation in the lines, as you write. So you're getting some shading going on there. And if you had like a really nice sheening ink, it would probably be really spectacular. It's a wet nib. It really does put down a lot of ink. I'm not a huge gray fan. This is quite nice, actually, especially in this pen. And this is Pelikan paper, so it's a nice gray. Yeah. I tend to run towards blues, reds, greens, colors like that. I like very, very vibrant colors. I often think I would like a gray, and I haven't really found one that's knocked my socks off. But once again, this pen, you can see on the downstrokes, is making a very nice dark line, kind of fine across, wide down. I'm not saying this is not a flex nib. There's not a lot of spring to it, but it does feel soft, very soft. And so you get a bit of line variation going on. But I wouldn't push down on this nib, So what can I say? So the body is resin, and the diameter of the body is 14 millimeters, and the grip section right up here is 12 millimeters, and the cap is 16 millimeters. It's a screw cap, of course, and it is, when it's closed, it's 146 millimeters long. If you post the pen, I'm not going to post this myself, it's not my pen, 177 millimeters. And the weight is 33 grams. And as I said, the ink capacity is 1.51 milliliters. Now, I don't have huge hands. And, that's a big pen. So even if you have huge hands, this is going to feel very comfortable in your hand. And if you have small hands, I still think it's well enough made and balanced that it's going to feel very nice in your hand, especially. It's just, yeah, it doesn't feel like back heavy, it doesn't feel front heavy. It just feels really nice. There's a really nice center of gravity in that pen. There is a bit more weight here, I'd say, because of the piston mechanism, but it's not uncomfortable. And it's not feeling like it's going to fall out of my hand just because one section is heavier than the other. Now the grip section it feels very nice. It's smooth. You can feel the threads a bit, but they're not sharp. They're not uncomfortable. There's a gold band at the end of the section, but it's not sharp. It just allows your tip of your finger to sort of nestle in there nicely. So it just feels good. You're aware of all the edges, but they aren't sharp or uncomfortable. And that is quite literally a big nib. That's just big. I'm going to show you, for instance, my little 400, 405. This is a gold nib. It's just a plated rhodium, I think it is. But that is the most obvious difference right there. The size of the nibs. Like the body, yes, is bigger. When you look at the body, it is bigger, of course, yes. Right. But the most obvious difference is the nibs. On the 405, you have a very small nib as compared to this M1000. This is almost a traditional size, actually, whereas this is a very special. This is a very special nib. Like, it's very beautiful. But then again, you know what? I find Pelikan pens really nice. I find them very beautiful, very elegant, very classic. They're classic. Now they aren't in Canada. They aren't cheap. That's for sure. We seem to almost have a. We almost seem like there's a tariff applied because they just seem so much more expensive here. But if you look around, sometimes you can find them at a good price. Or if you can buy them overseas and you don't mind paying some customs duties, you can find them at a better price. Which do I prefer? Which do I prefer? I'm just comparing the smallest to the largest. Yeah. That's a small pen, but it feels very good in the hand. Post-it, I always use mine post-it because it is a short pen. I probably wouldn't post the large one because it is so big, It doesn't need to be posted. It just fits into the hand so well. If I had the money, I'd go for the 1,000. Yeah. Of course, you know what? I highly recommend any top-line Pelikan pen. I do. I highly recommend them. If you can save up a bit of money, the M400 and 405 in this case, even though it's a smaller pen, it is still an expensive pen. It's the kind of thing you might want to budget for. Set some money aside every now and then and treat yourself when you get a special birthday, or a special event. Um, yeah, boy, that 1000, I like it. Anyway, let me know in your comments, what's your Grail pen? Do you have a Pelikan? Um, how do you feel about the size differences? Which is the perfect size? I don't have the other two to show you. There's the 600 and 800, and they sort of fall in size-wise between these two. Which is the perfect size? Let me know in the comments. I'm kind of curious. Anyway, thank you, Rudolph, for the loan of your beautiful, beautiful pen. I'll get it back to you soon. I might use it for a little bit. No, I'll get it back to you soon. But I really appreciate the loan of this pen. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new around here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. And I hope you have a good day. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.